miss the feeling.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For Total Pest Control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
It says here that Eric Gaylord is back. Where has he been?
Well, I heard he was in the great Northwest hunting for Sasquatch.
Stop.
Really? Yeah.
I've been looking for years. Maybe Sasquatch doesn't exist.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Good morning and welcome to hour one of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping that you and yours are dealing appropriately with the COVID-19 pandemic. And I know that a lot of you watching today are so very eagerly looking forward to getting back to work. As a result, we start today's show speaking with the gentleman that is charged with just that task. Scott Poole is a member of the Louisiana Legislative Advisory Task Force on Economic Recovery and the Governor's Task Force as well, and joins us to start today's show. Scott, good morning, and how are things in Alexandria today, sir?
Good morning, Clarence. Things are well now. We did have a little bit of rough weather last night. I think we had somewhere around 40,000 people in our central Louisiana region without electricity, but I know Glico and the other service companies are out working hard to get us turned back on, but we're all safe and sound. Thank you.
The Legislative Advisory Task Force on Economic Recovery holding its first meeting this week. What was the mood like for that first meeting, Scott?
I think it was optimistic. It was energetic. It was a degree of seriousness that I believe equates to the issues that we have at hand. But if you look at the varied talented folk that are on these committees, they range from presidents of banks to leaders of our industries and industrial associations, as well as presidents of companies. These people are quite capable and competent, and feel very comfortable that we can plot a great course ahead to suggest to our legislative body.
How tough of a balancing act are we talking about here? On one hand, you're talking the urgency of getting the economy restarted, getting Louisianians back to work. On the other hand, however, there's the health concern. How tough is that balancing act?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And it goes without saying that the health of our public, our employees, our workers, that's job one, and that's the cost of entry in getting this thing kick-started. We want to make sure that those people are protected. We've got the proper protocols in place. We follow the CDC guidelines, and we've got everybody comfortable to work and go to work and comfortable to visit restaurants and salons and the like. So that has to be in place. And I say on the flip side, but it's really more of a, if you will, a symbiotic relationship. They go together, they're hand in hand. On the flip side, we want to be inviting to get people out, make them feel comfortable enough to get into, to go to these businesses and start trading and start back working and remove the obstacles that the owners and managers in these businesses have to had to be confronted with initially, and some are very unique, some are more long term, but there is definitely a balancing act to be had here, and that's certainly part of our job.
How crucial, Scott, is it for people to understand that each city, each state has a different situation, and we're not all going to be able to resume normalcy at the same time?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're affected geographically. You know, if you look at the regions and compare New Orleans to Monroe, that's two different situations. Or the area in Central Louisiana where I'm at, I think we've had 250 or 60 cases or so here in Rapides Parish. It varies greatly, and sectors vary greatly, and business segments vary greatly, and where people can frequent may be different, and it may be more softer openings in some regions than others. There's not a defined plan at this point to say, hey, this is the region where we'll open first, or this is the business segments that will open first or not. And that's part of the job that we have to do is to ensure that we take a very calculated, measured approach to determining when and where we'll open.
So is there an established criteria for that? How are you going to deal with all these different municipalities?
Yeah, well, I think it's a little premature to assume that criteria is in place. I think that's part of the job that we've got to do. We've got to determine that. But hopefully, for example, guidelines for health and safety of employees, those need to be normalized across all of our businesses and across the entire state, so we don't have one group doing one thing, another group doing another. Right. I mean, that's only going to create confusion and some burdensome issues for our businesses. So we got to make sure we have a homogenized approach, if you will, that we all understand and we all can adhere to.
As we speak, the governor is meeting with President Donald Trump right now. What are you hoping he will relate to the president and the president to John Bell?
Yeah, I think we all want to get this thing opened up right, and I think our success for testing, for example, has been incredible. We've done a great job at that. There's still a lot to be done. I think the most we can hope for is a joint effort between the two, and for us to be able to walk in concert with the balance of the country. Because, I mean, look, our number one trading partner in the state, in the United States, is Texas, and so we need to be on the same page with our trading partners and our neighbors. So, and the president, and only on that federal level can they manage that degree of coordination, I believe, in opening. So, I just want to make sure and hope that we can all be in lockstep with our neighboring states and the balance of the country.
Have you so far noticed any particular hurdles that may be more problematic than any others as far as reopening Louisiana's economy? Well,
yeah, there's several, Clarence. There's issues regarding liability, for example. Let's say you're an employer and you want to bring employees and customers into your business, and one of those customers or one of those employees were to contract the virus. And so would you be held liable as an employer for that particular case? And obviously we would say, no, you should not, but that's a precarious situation that we're going to place we need to extend some liability coverage for our employers so that they can with confidence bring people back to work and people back into their businesses without the fear of being, if you will, sued for someone contracting a virus. That's just one of many, but you ask the question, is there a particular area? That's just one that pops up. The other is you look at our unemployment, where we could be when we start back, and I think back in February we're hovering around 6% unemployment rate, and I heard Dr. Lawrence Scott the other day. He made a potential forecast, nothing that was in concrete, but we could be looking at as many as several hundred, 350,000 people on unemployment. that's incredible considering the fact that after Katrina we had like a little over 70,000 people on unemployment. It's tremendous. That's a huge task. It's going to reabsorb that unemployment group entice that unemployment group to some degree back into the workplace is a big charge for our employers. So their ability to go out and get workers is going to be a huge challenge for them, I'm afraid, in some sectors.
Right. As you are, I'm sure, are well aware, partisan politics is a way of life in Louisiana, if not the nation and the world for that matter. How hopeful are you that the members of the task force will be able to put political differences aside in the interest of the greater good?
Well, I think we will. I think that's a foregone conclusion. We're not going to get anywhere if we get bogged down in bickering and fussing over every little single item. We're all going to have to be able to give and take on some of the suggestions that we make to the legislative group, to the Speaker and the Senate President Cortez. They're going to have to weigh and negotiate that through the channels of the legislature. But our job really has to be, we have to be focused independent of those petty arguments. We really have to look at the situation at hand and understand that we've got an immediate problem, and that's the problem for Republicans and Democrats alike. We can't separate that between the parties. We are all facing this same situation, and we have to do exceptional things now on both sides of the aisle, I think, to get the things done and accomplished and push forward that we need.
You and the members of the various task forces, as well as the current administration, have their jobs cut out for them. You have so much on your plate, but none of that will really amount to much of anything if the public does not get behind these efforts 100%, correct?
That's correct, and I hope everyone knows that our meetings are our task force updates and the progress that are going to be available for public. Our last meeting was for the public to view and listen into and see. So I encourage them to keep up with what we're doing as we progress toward a final document and composition that we're going to propose to the legislature.
When all is said and done, Scott, what are you hoping will come out of this task force?
Well, I think we have to hope in terms of phases. Phase one is we have to hope that we've set the stage for our businesses in 2-3 weeks from now, the immediate needs for our businesses. We set a stage for them to get back as close to normal as they can and start ramping up their volume and revenue and remove some hurdles, some cumbersome hurdles that unintended consequences of are prohibiting some of our businesses from getting where they need to be at day one. That could be licensing. That could be some way. You've already seen the governor has suspended some severance taxes, for example. Those short-term things need to happen in order for our businesses to start recovering immediately. And then there's going to be some bridging policy changes that we need to make that would enable these businesses to get from the immediate issue that we're dealing with today with COVID to the more long-term, sustainable, productive Louisiana economy, which we all want and need. And so that's the second stage. And lastly, we have to look at long-term policies. I mean, things like, for example, stat debt accounts, stat debt issues in our state budget. And I mean, our legislature and governor really are limited to what they can and can't do because of statutory accounts.
Right.
And maybe we need to look at those things long term and set a different stage for our success, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. So I hope we're able to provide ultimately. I hope we're able to provide a roadmap that enables a phase 1, 2, and 3 progressive plan that will be an impetus for change, short term and long term.
Scott Poole, we will certainly be watching with great anticipation as we nudge our way back to normalcy here in the state of Louisiana. And God bless you and yours, and stay safe, my friend.
I sure will, Clarence. Thank you so much, and I hope you good health.
Thank you kindly. All right, first break of hour one. We are just a tad bit overdue. We'll get this out of the way, and we'll come back and talk with you right where you've got it on hour one of the Clarence Bugg Show here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
I'll leave for a little while. And all you other letters think you can take over my town. Look at you. None of you's even involved. If the people want the money they deserve for their accident,
the E-guarantee.
And as for you other letters, it's time you were erased.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Welcome back to Hour 1 of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Make up your mind, Marty. Which way? Which way? Oh, over here? No, now over there. Okay. All right. Blame it on Marty if you get seasick watching all of this on your screen. Governor John Bel Edwards is in the process of meeting with President Donald Trump right now, one of a handful of governors that are being granted one-on-one time with the President of the United States. Oh, by the way, before I forget, pilots from Barksdale Air Force Base and the Louisiana Air National Guard are going to perform some flyovers this week, Baton Rouge and New Orleans, to honor healthcare workers, essential employees, and volunteers that have combined all of their efforts to keep us safe during this COVID-19 pandemic. The flyover is part of the Air Force's Salutes program. Officials with the Air Force say the flyover will include 2 B-52 Stratofortresses assigned to the 2nd Bombing Wing and F-15 Strike Eagles from the 159th Fighter Wing based at the Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base in New Orleans. I think I have estimated times listed here. Those of you in New Orleans, you can expect to see the 2 B-52s escorted by F-15s around 9:30 Friday morning. Here in Baton Rouge, you can expect to see the same aircraft right around 12 noon. Each flyover is scheduled to last anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes each. And of course, residents, if you choose to go outside and view the flyover, please remember proper social distancing, everything that should be a part of the norm by now. Stations will probably also carry it live as it occurs. But if you're like me, you like the feel of being out of doors, and depending on how low the flyovers are going to be, the ambient noise, the jet noise, the whole nine is just a part of the experience. So that's on Friday in New Orleans around 9:30, and they are going to fine-tune these times a little more as we get closer to Friday. And in Baton Rouge around 12 noon. Each one scheduled to last from 10 to 20 minutes each. So if you're a fan of the armed forces of the United States of America, and can't imagine anybody watching right now that isn't, and particularly if you are a fan of the Air Force, be sure to look out in the skies on Friday in both New Orleans and Baton Rouge as the Air Force puts on a show in honor of all the great first responders and other essential personnel that are helping us to battle COVID-19. When Governor John Bel Edwards concludes meeting with President Donald Trump, he will return to our state, and I would imagine even before returning home, will be back in the process of working on reopening our economy. I'd like to ask you, how would you grade your city and how it's handled the coronavirus? How have we, as Americans, overall handled this crisis? Did we overreact? Have we underreacted? Have we done about as well as could be expected, considering this is something totally unprecedented and something that we as Americans have never had to deal with before? Grab a call. Call me up. 225-831-1029 will get you aboard. 225-831-1029 gets you aboard. Personally, in some aspects, I think we've overreacted. It is pretty much a foregone conclusion that when you pull the switch on an economy the likes of ours, there's going to be some trouble on the back end, if not sooner. And unfortunately, when you take a country like ours that has trillions of dollars in debt and completely suck all of that revenue out of the economy, there's going to be some problems. And quite frankly, Louisiana is one of those states that recently had suffered, finally starting to get back somewhat on solid financial footing, and now this. Now, let me say for the record, I understand when you're talking about something like COVID-19, with all the uncertainties that come along with that, I guess I have to understand that with so many unknowns, you err on the side of caution. But at the same time, as an economy and as a nation, we've got to continue to function. So while there will be certain entities that will be directly affected, others cannot continue to function in this fashion. But now that's just me. I'm also interested in knowing when all of this is over, what's that first thing that you really, really want to get out there and do? What do you miss most as a result of the stay-home orders? For a lot of you, I would imagine it is probably the simple things. One of the things that I miss most is getting out and about and just enjoying people. You can see on many people these days, it is literally etched on their faces. The worry, the concern, the uncertainty. And here in Louisiana, we're folksy people. You know, we like to hug, we like to feed people, we like to get together for fairs and festivals and just have a good time. And you can literally see the change that has come over people. I am only hoping that we will not allow this to change us as Louisianians. Maybe if we can get a good dose of football, maybe that will change the stagnation that's occurring right now. Maybe when we're able to get together in larger groups and do the things that we've all become accustomed to as Louisianians, maybe that folksy hometown feel will return. But for the time being, there's a lot of folks out there right now that are scared to death, and it's primarily because of the uncertainty. But when all is said and done, you've heard me say this before, and you will in all likelihood hear me say it again. We as Americans do our best work when our backs are against the wall. And certainly that's true for Louisianians. While this may be unprecedented, the COVID-19 pandemic and the stay-at-home orders, it is not our first rodeo. If there's anybody in this country that has prepared mentally, psychologically, emotionally, if you will, for something like this, it's Louisianians. I mean, take into account the hurricanes that we go through, the floods that we've gone through, the whole nine. So we are a resilient people, and we understand how to make the most out of the least. Not saying it's easy. Please don't misunderstand me, not by any stretch of the imagination. But when all is said and done, we find a way, and we make it work. Now, in talking with Scott Poole at the top of this hour, he expressed optimism that we will be able to put aside our political differences in the interest of the greater good. I only hope he's right. There are going to be some squabbles, there are going to be some battles, and there are going to be some folk out there that don't want to see us return to normalcy as far as Louisiana politics are concerned. That beast has been around for so long, killing Louisiana politics is probably going to be a whole lot easier said than done. My hope is that we will finally now be forced to return to some semblance of fiscal sanity. But that's just me. Rose is on line one. Rose, good morning, and how are you today?
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. So how would Rose rate we as Americans and our response to COVID-19?
Well, I think it was a good thing to limit group sizes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But what I miss the most is going to church. I mean, I don't get to see my friends. I don't get to sing in my choir.
Bless your heart.
I really miss the interaction.
Yeah.
And I hope that sooner than later this will be open up. We can get that together.
So what do you do on Sundays now, Rose, since you can't go to church?
I watch the Mass on TV.
Uh-huh.
And, and I'll sing with whatever was on the television, and I also get to, I have my phone, so I watch it on YouTube.
Right.
If I'm out and about on the weekdays.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. I'm blessed, though. I get to go outside a lot because I walk my dog.
Right.
So that's a blessing.
Do you think...
I missed a good restaurants, too.
Well, of course. We're Louisiana folk. We miss our good food. For most people that you know, Rose, choir rehearsal, that's a social event in and of itself, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. We have a small choir, mm-hmm. and, it's so sweet because even though I live downtown, I sing up at St. Isidore. Right. And Father Frank, during his sermon, he always tells everybody how much he misses us, mm-hmm. The whole congregation.
Wow.
And, it's nice because it's a smaller congregation. I mean, it's not a huge church because
right.
It's up in Baker, so. Uh-huh. But it's really a nice little family, so I miss them. Yeah.
So what does your gut tell you? What does your heart say to you, Rose? How long here in Louisiana before we'll be able to say things are somewhat back to normal?
I hope by the end of May. I'm really looking forward. I think the step that Governor Edwards took to make the restaurants, if they have outside seating, to sit outside. Right. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be nice.
Okay, real quick, give me your favorite restaurant. Where is Rose going to get that good meal?
Well, I can walk to it. I'm in the Capitol. I'm in the Catholic and Presbyterian departments. Uh-huh. So I like Cocha. It's a nice little family restaurant. Uh-huh. Husband and wife own it, and it's just a really nice place.
Fantastic.
And they have outside seating now. Yay.
Awesome. Well, Rose, take care of yourself, and please be safe, dear.
You too. Thank you, Clarence. Have a great day.
You do the same as well. 225-831-1029. 225-831-1029. I'd love to talk with you. What is that thing that you can't wait to do as soon as the governor says, all right, we're close to being normal? And how would you rate our response as Americans to this pandemic? Did we overreact, underreact, or considering we've done about as well as we could? Let me get this break out of the way, and we'll continue with hour one of today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, right where you've got it, here on the Pelican. Stay close.
is back, but where has he been?
I read on the internet that that guy was abducted by aliens.
Rated
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Fruget Jr., and I am a general dentist at Fruget Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Welcome back to hour one of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, the place where Louisiana folks talk to other Louisiana folks about issues affecting Louisiana folks. Got a line for you. Grab it. 225-831-1029. 831-1029. 225, the capital city area code. Talking today about how would you grade your city and how the citizens there have responded to social distancing, the stay-home orders, the whole nine. What kind of job have they done where you live? What's that thing that you miss the most that you haven't been able to do and you can't wait to do again once all of this is over? And as Americans, how would you grade us from A to F as far as dealing with the pandemic? Did we overreact? Did we not react seriously enough? Or, considering in the grand scheme of things, it's something none of us have ever experienced before, we did pretty much the best that we can. By the way, I don't know if this is a good sign or a bad sign, but Louisiana lawmakers announcing that they are going to return to the Capitol Monday, May 4th, to start the business of dealing with the people's business. It is one of those things that was halted mid-stride, the legislative session, with the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, one member, Representative Reggie Bagala, dying from COVID-19. Representative Ted James, hospitalized in ICU for a while. And of course, the Senate president also contracting the virus as well. But on Monday, May 4th, they are scheduled to return to the Capitol to resume the legislative session. What that is going to look like, I guess only time will tell. Social distancing will still be in effect. If you've ever been to the Capitol during the legislative session, you know that at times it's impossible to separate yourself from the crowd, particularly in the House chambers and the many subcommittee rooms that inhabit the basement area of the Capitol. But it's so important that these guys and girls get back to work. They're going to have to make this work. Louisiana's economy is at a point right now where if we don't get the ball rolling again pretty soon, God only knows how long it's going to be before we recover. I understand full well that things are not going to be, quote, normal for quite some time. It doesn't mean, however, that we cannot take some steps to do things that at least give us some semblance of normalcy in the meantime. Generating revenue, that is at the top of my list right now. But hey, that's just me. Personally, and it pains me to say this, but maybe some folks need to hear this. The city of Baton Rouge has room for a whole lot of improvement before we're able to resume normalcy. If you go to the stores and places that are still open, many times it leaves you scratching your head, wondering what are these people thinking? Of course, now that's just Baton Rouge. James is on line 1, and you're up next. Good morning, James. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Fantastic. So what's that thing that James can't wait to do when all of this is over, James?
Well, you know, Clarence, I want to get back to the dance.
Oh,
Tuesday night dancing.
Bless your heart. Oh, that's right. You are a cancer survivor, aren't you?
Yeah, well, my wife is a cancer survivor,
Uh-huh.
and I had this fall in 2016 that
Right.
just about killed me.
So what you been cooking lately? I know you're a big guy in the kitchen, right?
Yeah, I like to cook.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I do now. I'm doing a pineapple upside down bundt cake.
Oh,
that really turned out real good.
So, how would you grade us as Americans? How did we handle this COVID-19 virus situation, James?
Well, I think we've done pretty good with it. We have overreacted some, but basically, but the people in the stores now, they're not doing real well.
Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to remember where it is that you live. It's not in Baton Rouge, is it?
You wonder?
Where do you live right now? Are you still in Baton Rouge?
I live in Azalea Lakes in Baton Rouge.
Okay. So give Baton Rouge a grade, A through F. How is Baton Rouge done?
Baton Rouge done pretty good, about a B, I guess.
Really? A B? That high?
Yeah, as far as the people, the city itself, the people is done about by a C.
Right.
As far as when you go in the stores and such as that.
Well, James, it is great to hear your voice, my friend, and keep on cooking. And be sure to tell the missus hello for me.
Okay. You're standing right here.
Take care of yourself, my friend. Thank you kindly. It is something that if you've never done it before, you don't really have a true appreciation for it. James is one of those guys. And James, do your buddy Clarence a favor. Tell all your friends that we are back in a brand new capacity here on KPBN, The Pelican. And, of course, tomorrow, right here, same spot, same time, The Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. James is one of those people that loves to help other people. He'll cook God knows how much food and then find people to give it to. It's one of those things that is, I don't want to say it's uniquely South Louisiana, but I will say when we do it, it's a whole lot better than a lot of other places. I'm just saying, and of course, you know, I'm guilty of wearing sometimes my Louisiana on my shoulders, but there's a reason people travel here from all over the world to sample the food and the people. Got a line? Grab it. 225-831-1029, 831-1029, the 225 area code for the capital city. How would you rate your city? What's that thing you can't wait to get back to doing? Rose, like a lot of people watching right now, says she can't wait for church to resume. I'm in that number with you, Rose, because for South Louisiana folks, and I can only speak for us Baptists, in the Black Baptist Church, while church is for feeding the flock, it is also for nourishing the flock, meaning there are people you will only see, only get to hug, only get to talk to for that 2 hours on Sunday. And all my Catholic friends are going, Bugs, y'all stay in church for 2 hours? It's the Black Baptist Church. It's written somewhere. I've never seen it, but I know it's got to be written in the Black Baptist Church manual. Thou shalt not have any service under 2 hours. That's just the reality of what we do. See how lucky you Catholic folks have it? All the time. 225-831-1029 will get you aboard. I for many years, and I've said this God knows how many times, I am a simple man with simple taste. And the things that I think I miss the most are the simple things because of the stay-home order. Just on a whim, saying, you know what? I got a bowling league on Friday night. I may need to go practice a couple of games. And at the drop of a hat, grab my bag, take off and go. Can't do that anymore. Simple things like going to fellowship with the guys for male chorus rehearsal for the fourth Sunday at church. Can't do it anymore. Miss it dearly. Watching people enjoy other people. Can't do it anymore. Half of us are hidden behind a mask, so unless a person has really expressive eyes, you can't see the facial language. And quite frankly, if you're a student of body language, you can tell when people are uncomfortable. When they walk into the store, you can tell they're on a mission, I'm gonna get in or get out with as little interaction with people as possible. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We are advised to do that. But at the same time, we're Louisiana folks. And it's almost a Louisiana sin not to interact with people, not to welcome people, not to be hospitable to people. It's who we are. It's what we do. And that may be the single most entity that I'm looking forward to resurging in Louisiana. Louisiana folks doing what Louisiana folks do. We'll get there. May take longer than I would like it to be, but that is the reality of what we're dealing with. We need to get our final break of hour one out of the way. Coming up in hour two, we're going to shift gears a little bit, talk some sports. The HBCU community, all in mourning, the SWAC, and of course, Alcorn State and Southern University on the passing of the Godfather, Marino Casson. Roger Cador, an institution in and of himself, will join us to start the second hour with some fond remembrances of the Godfather. And of course, we'll look back at this year's NFL draft. The man himself, Buddy Songy, will join me. We'll talk about LSU's outstanding performance and a newcomer to New Orleans, coming to the Saints, a guy we used to all hate, but now I guess we're going to have to learn to love him. That depends on how he conducts himself. Jameis Winston, now officially a New Orleans Saint. Last break of hour one, we get her done, and we'll wrap up right after this on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Exiles from what, you ask? Exiled from the radio, but now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back for the remainder of hour one of today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. For those of you that are viewing in the capital city and the capital region, I guess, for that matter, there are a couple of families that truly need your help. There is going to be a benefit for the two BRPD officers that were so adversely impacted recently. Officers Glendale Hutto, I hope I did not butcher the name, Hutto, and Derek McGlone. The two officers, as you, I'm sure, are aware by now, were involved in that fatal shooting on Sunday, April 26th. Officer Hutto was killed, and McGlone is currently recovering in a Baton Rouge hospital. There is going to be, for the benefit of their families, a fundraiser. It is set for this Friday, May 1st, starting at 11 a.m. at the BRPD headquarters. That's located at 9000 Airline Highway. For those of us that are locals, it is the Old Woman's Hospital, the BRPD headquarters there. Jambalaya and pulled pork dinners will be served for a very nominal cost of just $10. Those families, I know without a shadow of a doubt, would be so eternally grateful if you could block off on your schedule Friday for that meal. It is something that Louisiana folk certainly enjoy, and it would free you up on Friday to not have to worry about where dinner is going to come from. And on top of that, it's just a great way to give back to those who give so much to us every single day. The majority of us are so blessed. We wake up every day, and when things are normal, our loved ones go out of the door to pursue their chosen profession. And short of anything totally out of the norm, we expect to see them at the end of their shift, at the end of their day. It is a very stark reality for the families of the men and women in blue that every time they walk out of that door to go to work may be the last time that you see them. It is something that we as citizens are obligated to do. We are in a situation where we can't put a dollar figure on what these men and women mean to us, but certainly as Louisianians, when the need arises, it's incumbent upon us to step up and answer the call. So again, that is this Friday at the BRPD headquarters, 9000 Airline Highway. Go by, grab a couple of plates, and encourage the men and women of the BRPD to let them know that, yes, we do still have their backs, without a doubt. It is a sad reminder here in the capital city that we still have a disconnect with some segments of our society and our communities with law enforcement. That is an unfortunate reality of living in a civilized world. But when all is said and done, I am still of the opinion that we have countless more good men and women than we do bad men and women. And it's times like these where we get the opportunity, the good ones among us, to stand up and make our presence known. So please, on behalf of those two families, make it a point to do that on this Friday. Also, speaking of Friday, as a matter of fact, you get a twofer. On Friday, we told you earlier, for those of you that were with us, that the United States Air Force, particularly the Barksdale Air Force Base out of North Louisiana, is going to conduct a flyover to honor emergency personnel, first responders, and essential employees in both New Orleans and in Baton Rouge. Two B-52 what's the technical name? Not the Stratofortress. Hang on, live TV, gotta love it. Two B-52s, two F-15s accompanying them are going to fly over New Orleans and Baton Rouge. 9:30 Friday morning for the New Orleans area. Those of you here in Baton Rouge, it will be around 12 noon. Now, these time frames are not set in stone. Look for adjustments between now and Friday, but either way, it will occur over New Orleans and over Baton Rouge. It is the Stratofortress, the B-52. The B-52s are assigned to the 2nd Bomber Wing, the F-15 Strike Eagles from the 159th Fighter Wing based at Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base in New Orleans. So these will be hometown heroes, Louisiana boys, if you will, that will be putting on a show to honor first responders and those on the front line of the COVID-19 pandemic. Make it a point, get out while you're running down to BRPD headquarters to pick up either that jambalaya meal or the pulled pork meal. And while there, depending on what time of day you're there, make it a point to be on the lookout for it. Those guys, I'm sure, are going to put on one heck of a show. No two ways about it. It is, again, a period of mourning in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, HBCUs, and quite frankly, all of black college football for that matter. Marino Chasm, the godfather, dying last weekend. And next hour, we'll spend some time remembering a legendary individual. I guess it's probably the same for every generation. You look back at folks that were your elders, and you get to know them, you marvel at their accomplishments, you idolize them as individuals. And as time goes by, we all find ourselves saying, man, they don't make them like that anymore. I guess only time will tell if that is in fact true. But I got to tell you, as a young guy back in the 80s, just starting out in the business, having the privilege, the pleasure, the opportunity to work with the likes of some legendary figures in black college football, like Marino, the godfather Chasm, Archie, the gunslinger Cooley up at Mississippi Valley. And for those of you that did not follow HBCU football, Archie the gunslinger Cooley was the coach that brought us Jerry Rice. He was the coach that brought us Willie Totten. He was the coach that made Mississippi Valley into a household name. Of course, there are legendary figures like the man, Eddie Robinson, the gentle giant, W.C. Gordon from Jackson State University. Having all of these guys, all of these personalities together in one place at one time, mentoring and raising our young men, is something that personally, I don't know if we'll ever see again. Things have changed so much in that regard, but with the advent of TV, internet, and our global and national connections now as far as media is concerned, some folks are of the opinion that can never happen again. Only time will tell, but I got to tell you, man, when the news broke of his passing, it was touching. Marino Chasm was one of those people that was as real as the day is long. Literally, what you see is what you got. And king of the one-liners. He is the man that coined the phrase some, 40 years ago, I think was the first time I heard him utter that phrase, that here in the South, football is a religion, and Saturday is the holy day of obligation. That's how he felt about the game of college football. That's how he felt about growing up, living in the South, and knowing what he was in charge of, a football program, knowing what it meant to people. Maybe his legacy, more so than anything, like Eddie Robinson, W.C. Gordon, and others, he was a showman. And he understood that when we put our money down for a ticket and showed up in a stadium, we deserved to be given a show. And at the end of the day, as pretty much all the great ones do, they understand I'm just a football coach. They understand it's just a game. They understand that you work hard for your money and you deserve to get a top-notch product for it. He was a showman, no two ways about it. As a matter of fact, back in his day, when you look at HBCUs, they were, my opinion only, the P.T. Barnums of football. The big schools, the USCs, the Ohio States, the Penn States, those folks were granted, for lack of a better phrase, the hierarchy in college football. They didn't want for anything, didn't have to ask for anything. But on the other hand, when you had little bitty schools like Grambling State University, nestled in the red clay hills of North Louisiana, you had places like Mississippi Valley, Itta Bena, Mississippi. People say, Itta Bena? You mean there's actually a university there? Exactly. And because of their efforts, people like Jerry Rice, people like Albert Lewis, people like, the list is really too long to get into here. Because of HBCUs, the NFL has a legacy that is beyond compare. And we'll spend some time remembering truly one of the great ones out there. And of course, football, oh man, we've got to have football this fall. There's no two ways about it. America needs a release. What it's going to look like, God only knows at this point. Will it be fan-less football? Will it be half-filled stadiums? And of course, the economic impact that that's going to bring as well. Will ticket prices have to be raised? Because after all, we can only be able to put 50,000 in Tiger Stadium as opposed to 100,000. And actually, if social distancing is still the norm, it's probably going to have to be a whole lot less than that. 100,000, roughly, give or take, in the stadium. If you cut it in half, that's not going to leave you 6 feet distance between fans. So God only knows what it's going to look like. Personally, at this point, I don't care what it looks like. I just want to see it. Put it on the field. You don't even have to have a crowd shot. Who needs a crowd shot? I'm not here for the crowd. I'm here for the football. Hopefully, all that will materialize sooner rather than later. Buddy Songy will join us to talk about that particular aspect, give you a little bit of a break from all of the COVID-19 stuff. Oh, and a little point of clarification. I don't know at this point if, in fact, Marino Chasm's death is attributed to COVID-19. Roger Cador may, and I stress may, have that information for us after the top of the hour. We'll get this break done, and after that, we will move straight ahead full bore with a little more relaxed approach to things on hour 2 of the Clarence Bugg Show, right here where you've got it on KBBN, the Pelican, all across the great state of Louisiana. Stay close.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Welcome back for hour 2 of today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. We're going to lighten things up a little bit in hour 2. Not so much heavy emphasis on COVID-19. And one of the things that folks here in Louisiana love as a relaxation is a little bit of sports to kind of get out of the grind of the everyday. Sadly, this past weekend, HBCUs, Black college football, and America lost another great one. The Godfather, Marino Chasm, former AD and head coach at Alcorn State University, as well as Southern University in Baton Rouge, passing on at the age of 85. Speaking of legendary people, but he's not passed on, nowhere near his time, Roger Cador, former Southern University head skipper and Hall of Famer, joins us to talk a little bit to start the second hour. Coach, how are you today, my friend?
I want to live forever.
So what will you remember most about Marino Chasm, Coach?
His big personality
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that he was a smart man. He was very smart. He was a smart athletic director. He was a smart businessman, smart negotiator.
Right.
And he had a saying that was very well chronicled, and he said that there are two things that are non-negotiable. Two things: tax and death. He was so right. You can't negotiate either one.
Yep. So what was it like to work for this guy? You mentioned, and anybody that ever met Marino Chasm knew he was he had just had that huge personality. He was a taskmaster. He expected the best out of everybody. What was it like to work for him?
Well, he came out of the era where demand was the thing of the day. He demanded excellence. He demanded success out of you. And that's what he really wanted. And it was, for me, it wasn't that big of an issue because I came out of a culture where my father demanded that I work hard and always give the very best. Where my mother was the equalizer, where she added a little love in there,
right?
And let her do. But the era we came out of, Marina Castle was just right for it because he placed a lot of demand on people delivering.
What did he mean to the Southwestern Athletic Conference and to HBCU football when all is said and done?
Well, he taught. It was a lesson he taught. He was known by a lot of people as 3 Don in a cloud of dust. But when you put it into perspective, the other thing that he did was his teams were well conditioned, and they won a lot of games in the fourth quarter when, fatigue, as Vince Lombardi said, will make coward out of men. Well, in the fourth quarter, in first, men out of men with his team. So that's what I remember about it.
He truly was a showman, was he not?
Say that again, Clarence?
He was a showman, wasn't he? I put him in the category of folks like P.T. Barnum because he understood that when people spend their disposable income, you got to give them a good show.
Well, that was part of the allure in historical black schools. People wanted to be entertained, especially football, because that's why the band came in.
Right.
They got 2 quarters of football, the halftime show with the band, and then 2 more quarters of football. All of it was to give people a show, and he added a little more. And they loved seeing him pace the sideline and talking. And, demanded from his coaching staff, demanded from his players. And, he was really something, man. I tell you, a lot smarter than people would ever give him credit for being. See, one of the things that I got to talk to Marina a lot the last few years of his athletic directorship at Southern. I would go in every day during lunchtime. He and I would talk for a lot of things. And he talked to me about his experience being on the executive committee with the NCAA, how much he learned. He said, I was in the room with presidents and executives. You learn what was happening in America. You got me? And that was the thing. Then the other thing is from a financial standpoint, this man was brilliant, man. This man knew how about financing and investing. And he was a lot of people just don't know that because they didn't get to know him the way I got to know him.
Right.
People usually get to know people from a coaching standpoint, athletic. I got to know him on more of an personal level when I went in there at 12 o'clock and we discussed a little bit of everything.
He truly was the epitome of the American dream, wasn't he? I mean, you take a small school in a small state like Mississippi, Alcorn State University, you take that school to prominence, you produce products for the NFL, and as a man of color back then, to be able to do what he did shows that we truly live in the greatest country on the face of this earth, don't we?
That's right. And then one of his greatest accomplishments was in 1984, when Mississippi Valley had Willie Cotton, the quarterback, and Jerry Rice, the great wide receiver, and the gunslinger.
Archie Cooley.
The gunslinger.
Yeah.
He beat him. And then a reporter from Jackson Curry, I think is the name of the paper, whatever it is, wrote an article. The day the Godfather did him, the gunslinger. A lot of pride. That was prominent in his office. So everybody could read it. And they realized he is the Godfather because he did him, the gunslinger. Remember, the gunslinger had Jerry Rice and Willie Cotton. The Godfather did him in. So, I mean, that was one of the things that he was most proud of. Because Willie know him also.
Right. When I look back, Coach, to the heyday of the Southwestern Athletic Conference and football in particular, you think back to the likes of the Godfather, Marino Chasm, as you mentioned, Archie, Gunslinger Cooley, the legendary Eddie Robinson, the guy I used to call the gentle giant, W.C. Gordon, over at Jackson State. Did the times make the men, or did the men make the times? And will we ever see this again?
No.
Why not?
Well, because it's a whole different ballgame. All of those people were great leaders, and they were individuals. They did things their way. Nowadays, presidents don't want to hire people who are strong-minded.
Right.
Will take control and do things beyond what is called for in their contracts. You got me?
Right.
All of those people did stuff beyond what they were being hired to do. They developed character, young people. They were community-serving people. Right now, that's not what you're getting. You're getting people to try and win a few games. And that's it, and they going on to the next place. But these people stayed there for 20 years. They had a chance to really be a part of the community and develop young people. So now coaches are staying 3, 4, 5 years and gone.
Right.
But if you look at all of those people, they all stayed there a long, long time at these schools, and that's why they were able to build such a wonderful career.
When all is said and done, Coach, what do you think Marino Chasm's legacy is going to be?
Well, it depends who is writing it, but for me, I look at him as a man that if you got to know him beyond him being a coach. See, that's the thing. You got to, when people are coaching, they're coaching. But when you can get to them and they're in a relaxed state,
right,
you can talk about all of the things that matter in society. This man was as well equipped to be a president of a university as anybody I know, because he was so diverse and so smart, and he could negotiate, and he could be whatever he needed to be. He could be a tough as they come,
right,
and he could be a teddy bear when he had to. And those kind of people now really don't exist. I love it because you know what? He didn't back down to anybody. That's what I like about it. And he wouldn't back down. He would stand up to anybody. And so his legacy will be, if I was writing him, we didn't take advantage of all what he could have done. We should have named him president, because he would have done a lot more for a lot more universities.
Wow. Roger Cador.
Because he was smart. He was smart. And a lot of people never got to know him.
Is there anything that you now use in your everyday life that you learned from Marino Chasm?
Yeah, I did my investment after him. Because he taught me how to do it and told me what to do. And I listened and I did it. And, obviously the way he did things, you can't hardly do them nowadays. I did things my way, but people can't do them. They're not going to let you do things your way anymore. You got me?
Yep. Yep.
They don't want it. They want a puppet, so to speak.
Well, fortunately, we were blessed to have in our lives Marino Chasm for the time that he was here. And it's 85 years that was very well spent. Roger, thank you for the time, my friend.
Anytime, Peter.
Take care, Stumpster. Marino Chasm, gone but not forgotten. Truly, truly one of a kind. A showman, a scholar, and just a great human being all the way around. He certainly will be sorely missed. We need to get our first break of this hour out of the way. When we come back, Buddy Songy will join us. We'll recap LSU's outstanding NFL draft and talk a little bit about the Saints and how they did and what he thinks Jameis Winston is going to have to do to become a productive member of our very own Black and Gold. That comes up next after this break, right where you've got it, on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Eric Gaylord is back, but where has he been?
Wait, the word was that he was training to be a sumo wrestler.
Rated E.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back for hour 2 of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. I had to dig real deep, I had to pull out all the stops, but I managed to get him out of retirement for this segment of today's show. Buddy Songy, how are you, my friend?
Good morning, Clarence. And I'll tell you what, this is a legendary Wednesday hump day. You just had Roger Cador, the legendary, incredible man from Southern, and I miss seeing you guys doing the show. Can't wait for you guys to get back doing his show. And then, of course, you, 40 years. Clarence Bugs is the only guy in TV land, folks, that doesn't have to worry about a haircut. I look like Mike, the mullet head Dundee from Oakland State, and there you are looking prim and good, but doing good. And before I start the segment, Clarence, if I could, I want to give a shout-out to our fallen officer who had of course, passed and was killed this past weekend, and we hope that the other policeman is going to recover. Marino Cassim, and then one other guy. It seems like deaths always come in threes.
Right.
But Frank Wick, the band director at LSU for 30 years, passed on Monday. So for those three guys, their families, and all their loved ones, I know all of us at Pelican Radio and TV give our heartfelt regrets for those people losing their loved ones.
You take all of that into account, buddy, and it's no secret, America is a sports-obsessed society. Has COVID-19 forced us to put all of this into perspective, or is it now more important than ever these days because Americans need that release, that escapism?
I think it's both, Clarence. I think that obviously with our way of life that has been changed so much, we talked about it last time. I heard you earlier talking about whether they're going to have 50% of the stadium. I even broke the subject, even though I didn't want to go there late last week, about asking our audience, would they go to Tiger Stadium or a Southern game wearing a mask? And that's, but I'm hoping that the scientific end of it and the medical end of it, we can get well. That all being said, look, it's been great to look back at 2019, albeit I think people are tired of watching the replays as great as they are. But this draft, Clarence, you know we talked all these things about this LSU football team. Did you see the numbers that these guys are going to make? This LSU football team, on the 14 players that got drafted, Clarence, $124 million.
Wow.
With another $59 million in signing bonuses. Look, we knew it was the greatest, but now we got to include that was the richest LSU football team ever.
Wow. Any idea how those numbers stack up against the best of all time, buddy?
I don't know, because the way they do the NFL, everybody is slotted now. So Burrow is going to make $36.19 million, and he got a signing bonus of just under $24 million. But here's the crazy thing, Clarence. LSU, and one of the classiest kids they had, his brother Reed Ferguson, and then Blake Ferguson. Blake Ferguson's a deep snapper, got picked in the 6th round. Clarence, a deep snapper, and he's going to make it in the pro level. $2.825 million with a $190,000 signing bonus.
Wow.
I don't know about the numbers. Of course, 14 ties the all-time record.
Right.
And we know 5 in the first round sets the LSU record, but 10 in the first 2 days, first round, second round, third round. You just can't put a price on that publicity, that free publicity that LSU got. Oh, by the way, 55 million people watching this draft, Clarence.
When you look at what transpired last season, couple that with the outstanding performance in this year's draft, how much ground do you think LSU has made up now on the Ohio States, the Alabamas, the Clemsons of the world?
Well, I think that those programs that you just mentioned, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and some of the other big boys, look, they're in the top 5. LSU was in the top 5, as we know, with Coach Saban and then Coach Miles, and then after they got shut out in that ill-fated night that none of us want to remember, at 21-0 shutout. People moved on past that, but look, they're back in the conversation with the top 5 teams in the country, and I think people are loving the story, and Clarence is something that you talk about and I talk about all the time. When people tell you you can't do something, it makes it that much sweeter. Coach O was doubted, Joe Burrow was doubted, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was told he was too small, not fast enough, Thad Moss, Lloyd Cushenberry, Justin Jefferson. Every story is an incredible one about overcoming what people told them they couldn't do. And that, as you and I both know, being around a while, that's the key to life. We're all good winners, folks. But when you get challenged and when you get a loss and something you've got to jump through, that's when you find out what kind of character and what kind of blood, sweat, and tears you can come up with.
What about from a fan perspective? You get to talk to thousands of people regularly, buddy. What are you sensing as far as the expectations now for this season and down the road? Are we realistic in our approach, or did last season spoil us like nobody's business?
Well, we've had this discussion, CP. Is LSU going to reload, or are they going to rebuild?
Right.
And I'm hoping it's reload. But listen, once you watch Clarence Bugs on Pelican Sports
Get out of here.
from 10 to 12, Monday and Wednesdays, and hopefully soon to be Fridays, it's tough to turn on, the cooking shows or anything else. We're spoiled with you. Keep up the great work. People are spoiled, Clarence. They can say, I won't mind it if they only win 9 or 10. But look, you get a taste of the way LSU football was last year. It's going to be hard not to expect it, even though they have so many departures this season.
So after last season and watching the productivity in the transition from college to pro, how much higher has Coach O now been able to build that wall around Louisiana to keep the Dabo Sweeneys, the Nick Sabans, and others out of our state?
Well, he always had a perception. Everybody knows about his accent and his voice, and then you had that previous mishap at Ole Miss. But right now, I would say Coach O is as hot a coach as anybody in the country. Clarence, people are calling up telling LSU, I want to come to LSU. It's not them recruiting now. It's the combination of them picking. They just got a kid, 6'6", 240, rush in from Texas, got a safety. I mean, they are doing great things. Just had a grad transfer Harvard kid that's going to come in here and give them some depth. So right now, I would say they are reaping the perk of having that incredible year.
You, as we've all done through this COVID-19 pandemic, have had to alter your regular routine and all the things that you do. How badly does Buddy Songy feel Louisiana needs some football?
Oh, my goodness. Look, it is such a big part of this culture, and I like to look at it with the glass half full. So I definitely think we're going to have football. The question is, will there be a total complete schedule? Will there be masks in the stadiums? What exactly are we going to be able to do to let somebody go and support their favorite high school, college, and pro team and go to that game with the confidence that they're not going to pick up the coronavirus and possibly perish later on? Right. We've got to establish that confidence. I think they will do that. Otherwise, we'll be playing in front of no fans, which I don't like the idea of, but it's way, way down the road. But look, Clarence, we need football. We need our sports, and that's why it was the brainchild of Roger Cador and the owners to have this draft. I think that answers your question. $55 million, that's the highest ratings ever for the draft, and people are chomping at the bit. And how about a little Jameis Winston landing in New Orleans?
Is that crazy or what? What do you make of that, buddy?
You know, I had Daniel tell me a couple of weeks ago about this, and, you know, Jameis had a rough year last year. He had 30-something touchdowns but 30-something interceptions.
Right.
And actually, it's a great fit. They gave Taysom Hill, the all-purpose quarterback who can play backup, but he also plays wide receiver on special teams and all that. They gave him $21 million. So Jameis Winston's coming in on a one-year deal. And he has said all the right things. I mean, why wouldn't you want to learn from Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and everybody in that room? It sounds like the young man has taken that maturity pill, not that patience pill, but that empty, that maturity pill. He's saying all the right things. I want to give him a chance, but you hope that you don't see much because you want to see Drew Brees, what he can do. Of course, they did draft the center in the first round, so they realized the importance of protecting Drew Brees.
Not to jinx the situation or any, but how much do you worry with the past problems that Jameis has had being in a city like New Orleans? If there's any place you can slip up, get into trouble, go back to your old ways, it's going to be the Big Easy. How much do you worry about that, buddy?
You know, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that question because everything that we've heard from the interviews, I think he realizes that it's time for the light to go on for him. And look, we all make mistakes, and everybody matures at a different age and a different level. But no, I think that they did their homework, and they had plenty of discussion about that. There's no doubt about it. You can get in trouble anywhere, but certainly New Orleans brings some interesting sidelines that you might not see or have available. But bottom line is, I think he's going to do all the right things. And trust me when I tell you, if you don't listen to Drew Brees, then you're not going to listen to anybody.
Great point. Great point. When can the folks check you out, buddy?
1 to 3 every Monday through Friday on the Pelican Radio. We do our podcast and show on WUBR, of course, TuneIn.com. And, oh, by the way, I'm trying to slip you in. I'm hoping to get you in tomorrow afternoon in my second hour to talk about a couple of things on the show, all right?
Cool.
Nice enough to have me on TV, and it's good that people don't have to see me live and in person. I see that ugly picture up there, but hey, hope that you'll come on for a little chat tomorrow afternoon on the radio show.
That sounds like a plan. Call me up.
Thank you, CB. Keep up the great work, and appreciate the job you're doing on a daily basis over there at the Pelican.
You're welcome, my friend. Stay safe. Buddy Songy, the one and only. All right, we need to get break number 2 of our number 2. out of the way, and we'll come back and talk with you right where you've got it on the Clarence Bugg Show here on the Pelican. Stay close.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. As I hope, certainly, that you are aware of by now, Governor John Bel Edwards extending to May 15th the stay-at-home order. There will be some relaxation of the rules, quote-unquote, that we've all had to adopt here as of late. The governor extending many of the aspects of the stay-at-home order, adding now some 15 days to some restrictions that were set to expire on Friday. Keep in mind, this is only phase 1 of the reopening. And typically, when you have something of this magnitude, you are talking at least 4 phases to get back to some semblance of normalcy. Whether or not that's going to be the case or not, I guess only time will tell. The politicians, the powers that be, business leaders, et cetera, are all hoping that we will be able to get our economy back rolling ASAP. Whether or not that's going to happen in the time frame we would all like, well, a lot of that is going to depend on whether you and I put our wholehearted support behind this. Our hearts continue to go out to retailers, personal care businesses, places of worship, all of whom I'm sure are going to really be happy to open at the 25% occupancy that phase 1 will apply. It's going to take, in many cases, a lot more discipline than many of us have right now. For example, your place of worship only allowed to open to 25% occupancy, only a fourth of the congregation at any one time. Now, the natural inclination with us being human beings is, well, not a big problem. We'll just have 4 services. 4th here, a 4th there, another 4th here, another 4th there. Well, ask your pastor if he's up to preaching 4 sermons on Sunday. You see where all of that goes? It is going to take adjusting on everybody's part to get this back to where we all want it to be. Dine-in restaurants, that is going to be something we're going to have to, quote, navigate our way through. It is disheartening for a lot of restaurateurs to think that I only can put X amount of people in my business. I've got payroll I've got to make. I've got to bring people back. I've got to do this, that, and the other. And working at 25 to 50% occupancy, I just don't know if I can make it. Hopefully, Louisiana folks, being Louisiana folks and loving Louisiana food and the restaurants the way we do, we will enable them to continue to stay open and make a go of it. I am sorely afraid that we could well lose some landmark institutions in our various communities. Many of the businesses that have been around forever, family-owned businesses, handed down from generation to generation to generation and serving generations of customers, may not be able to hold out through all of this. And it is something that, quite frankly, many of us have taken for granted. Over the years, you come to love certain places. You love their products, you love the people, you love the atmosphere, the whole nine. And the thought never occurs to you that maybe one day this place would just disappear. It is going to be a different landscape when all of this is over. Some it will happen to much earlier than others. So I say all that to say that as you start to get some normalcy back in your routine, please be so kind as to keep these businesses in your financial plans. Because when all is said and done, these are quality of life issues. It's one thing to have a job or not have a job. It's something else entirely to live in a community where there are welcoming places to shop, to spend your disposable income, to get a meal, to take your family for entertainment purposes, to be able to worship on a regular basis. All of these things contribute to the quality of life. So while the impetus right now may be focusing more so on jobs and getting people back to work, let us not forget that this is a quality of life issue. There is a reason why people come to Louisiana, visit, and then when they return home and they are talking about said visit, they always comment on the community aspect, how people in Louisiana treat you, how they treat one another, and how you get that sense of neighborhood community everywhere you go. It's a quality of life issue. And I am just hoping, desperately, I might add, that we don't lose that in this pandemic of ours. It is something that sadly, many of us are hoping, unrealistically, I may add, that when this is over, it will be over, and that will be the end of it. Lest we forget, it's a virus. And any virus of this sort, typically, once it manifests itself, it becomes cyclical. Every year, you know, a lot of folks go out and get the flu shot. Why? Well, because it's flu season. It's virus season. And unfortunately, as much as I hate the thought of it, I don't think we will eradicate this anytime soon. So be prepared for the long haul. And quite frankly, we've been extremely fortunate. We've been downright blessed up to this point. When you consider all of the instances that could have put us in this position long before now. The AIDS virus, the SARS virus, the MERS virus, the swine flu, the avian flu, H1N1, Ebola, Zika. The list just goes on and on and on. And I guess if there could be any saving grace in all of this is that hopefully the next time, God forbid, anything approaching this magnitude should occur, we collectively will be able to draw upon this experience, all the unpleasantness that comes along with it, all the precautions that we have to take as a result of it. This will no longer be, quote, our first rodeo. It is something that, aside from being a trying mental and emotional experience, is also something that we all should learn from. I understand that for many of us, all we want to do is just get through this darn thing. But if you look back through history, conventional wisdom says this is not going to be the only time we find ourselves where we find ourselves. I know it's not a pleasant thought. I get it. I don't relish the idea of going through this periodically. But as a student of history, I have to understand, and quite frankly, I'll be brutally honest with you, I am surprised we made it this far without being impacted to this degree. The world is a scary place as far as bacteria and viruses and viral infection and the spread and all of that stuff is concerned. And God has blessed us to this point not to have a pandemic of this sort prior to now. Now, that's not meant to instill fear. Oh my God, Clarence is saying we're going to have another pandemic real soon. Not saying that. What I am saying is that it should be, needs to be, must be a learning opportunity. And if in fact we learn from this as much as we can, then in the future, when anything else comes along the turnpike, we'll be ready and better equipped to deal with it. There are so many things, so many unknowns that we're still dealing with. As a matter of fact, just this morning, getting ready to come in, saw there's a story circulating now that we have the first confirmed case of COVID-19, the coronavirus, being transferred to a household pet. So now there's going to be all sorts of speculation about whether or not we need to social distance with our dogs, with our cats, with our birds, with whatever the pet is that you love in your household. It's just so many unknowns. But at the end of the day, the human species is a resilient species. Louisiana folks are resilient folks. And we will learn, we will adapt, we will adjust, and we will overcome. It may take some time, but as the old adage goes, there isn't anything worth having that isn't worth waiting and working for. And we've been waiting. Hopefully in the very near future, we'll start working, and before you know it, we'll have this thing licked. A lot of people are of the opinion, Clarence, you're overly optimistic. This world has never seen anything like the coronavirus. Well, I will grant you that, but I would also like to add as a caveat, the coronavirus has never seen anything like Americans and Louisianians. We do our best work when our backs are up against the wall. And now that we have absorbed or are absorbing the body blows that the coronavirus has thrown our way, when we counterpunch, we'll be a lot bigger and a lot better off as a result. Just my humble opinion only. We got to get our final break of today's show out of the way. Don't forget, tomorrow, the Exiles, Bill Profita, Kevin Gallagher, right here, same time, same station, here on KPBN. Final break of this hour, we'll get her done. and we'll wrap it up after this, right where you've got it on the Clarence Bugg Show, here on the Pelican. Stay close.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
I'm E. Eric Gaylord of the E. Eric Gaylord Foundation. Our motto, make Baton Rouge safe, clean, and lean. As part of our program to make Baton Rougeans eat better and exercise more, I'm offering a challenge to all those TV car guys and lawyers. If the main partners can beat me in a fitness contest, I'll donate $10,000 to the charity of their choice. Get details at ericgaylordfoundation.org. E. Eric Gaylord. Make Baton Rouge safe, clean, and lean.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back for the final segment. Thanks for telling me that as we're coming in, Marty. Well, good help is hard to find these days. But you did get it in. I'll give you that. Guys, girls, don't forget, this coming Friday is going to be a special day here in South Louisiana. It is an opportunity for us to show the kind of love that South Louisiana is famous for. And nothing against our friends in Sinla, the central part of Louisiana, in the Arklatex, in the Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas portion of the country. But folks here in South Louisiana, we kind of pride ourselves, and maybe more so than others, on the love that we have and we show for other people. Starting at 11 a.m. at the Baton Rouge Police Department headquarters, there's going to be a fundraiser for two very deserving families. Glendale Hutto Jr., the deceased officer of the BRPD that was slain this past Sunday, and Officer Derek McGlone, who remains hospitalized from the injuries he received in that double shooting. There will be a choice for only the nominal fee of $10. You can purchase either a plate of some awesome jambalaya or pulled pork. It's your choice of which two. And the proceeds obviously will go to benefit these two deserving families. I can't begin to imagine what the family of Officer Hutto is dealing with right now. On one hand, they have to be immensely proud that their loved one dedicated his life to serving and protecting the people of the city that they obviously love. On the other hand, they are also grieving, they are mourning, and they have the expenses therein, not to mention the emotional toll still to deal with. You're going out And buying that plate of jambalaya or pulled pork will help to ease that significantly. Just imagine Officer Derek McGlone's family worried about his condition as far as his bullet wounds are concerned, but also being hospitalized right now in the midst of a pandemic. Emotionally, that's probably as stressful a situation as you will ever encounter. And then to have to think about medical bills and whatever expenses may occur after he is discharged from the hospital, it's enough pressure on an individual that sometimes you just don't know where to turn. I have no doubt that Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas will do what we should do and what we must do in supporting these two men and this family. It starts again at 11 a.m. If you're not familiar with the Baton Rouge area and you are in one of the many suburbs and you'd like to help, it's the Old Woman's Hospital on Airline Highway, 9000 Airline Highway. Real easy to find, and hopefully you'll see tons of people lining up to drive through. It will be drive-through. You'll hand the money over, they'll hand you the food, no personal contact, and you're right on about your business. Also, on Friday, what I think is just an absolutely awesome gesture, a flyby is going to be held to honor the first responders and essential personnel that have kept us all going during this pandemic. Officials with the Air Force say that this flyover, both in New Orleans and in Baton Rouge, will include 2 B-52 Stratofortresses assigned to the 2nd Bomber Wing and a pair of F-15 Strike Eagles from the 159th Fighter Wing. They are based at the Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base in New Orleans. Each flyover is expected to last anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, and the times right now, 9:30 Friday morning for New Orleans, here in Baton Rouge, the capital region, around 12 p.m. Now, those times are not set in stone. They may vary just a little bit, so keep your eyes open to news accounts as we get closer to Friday. It would be a great opportunity to get the kids out of the house, get you out of the house. But remember, y'all, we got to still observe social distancing, so you can't get with everybody in the neighborhood in front of your house and serve lemonade and we're going to watch the flyover. It ain't that kind of party, okay? It ain't that kind of party. Keep that in mind. But it would be a marvelous opportunity for you to get the kids out of the house and give them a true appreciation of what this is about. I had the luxury of growing up in a military household. I'm an Army brat, and we were always stationed on my dad's various deployments somewhere near an Air Force base. So as a result, I kind of got in the habit as a young lad of going to air shows and an appreciation for the military. There used to be a show just about every year at what is now Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Back then, it was Ryan Field. And a little bit of a history lesson for those of you that don't know. Initially, the airport in Baton Rouge was strictly, the one in North Baton Rouge, for military aircraft. The commercial airport was out by the state police headquarters, out off Goodwood. But an unfortunate crash there forced the consolidation, and we now only have one. But if you've never been to an air show, you have no idea the adrenaline, the pride, and just pure enjoyment that you get from something like this. So make it an opportunity. Get the kids out of doors. Let them see our proud, great armed forces at work, and let them know that it's not just a symbol. It does represent certain things, but there's blood, sweat, tears, lives, and legacy behind all that. It's some awesome individuals that will be flying the B-52 Stratoforces. It's some awesome individuals that will be flying the F-15 Strike Eagles. But they are standing on the shoulders of millions of brave men and women who have served this country, who have given blood, sweat, tears, and lives for us to be the great country that we are. Yeah, COVID-19 has put a damper on a lot of things. COVID-19 has forced us to change our ways in a lot of regards. But this will be an opportunity for you to show your kids something concrete about America, how we came to be who we are, and hopefully how we will continue to be the great country that we are. Nothing is as inspiring to a young person as having a B-52 fly over your head. Nothing is as inspiring for your level of patriotism and your willingness to serve as having a couple of F-15 Strike Eagles come screaming over your house with the afterburners kicking in when they literally turn and burn. It is, I know for many of you, excitement has been like down to this level since the COVID-19 pandemic started. I get it. And many of you may not be able to take all this excitement. But for the time being, at least with your clothes on, it might be the most fun and the most excitement that you'll get to have. Friday, Marty says, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Trust me. Trust me. I did preface it with your clothes on. Okay? No ideas for y'all. Please, no ideas. 9:30, Friday morning in the New Orleans area. Be sure you're looking up. Roughly 12 noon here in Baton Rouge, it'll be our turn. Salute those brave men and women. They are our guys and girls out of Barksdale and out of New Orleans, and they will be putting on a show just for us. First responders, essential personnel, this one's for you. Thank you kindly for all you've done and all you continue to do. That being said, my time is up and I have got to go. But it leaves me just enough time to say, now more than ever, you know what? You're right. America, we're not perfect. But doggone it, for my money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you do realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Best news you're going to get all day, you can't do a doggone thing about either one. Profita Gallagher here tomorrow. God bless.